you know that Joe Biden won a free and fair election. I know you're a smart guy. You know that Joe Biden won. Come on, man.
I think that there needs to definitely be an investigation just to make sure that we have,
but you have to have evidence for an investigation. Why vote for somebody like that? If you don't like Kamala Harris for whatever reasons, Myron, glad to hear you on that. But why vote for a guy? I agree with you, the truth does matter. Why vote for a guy who continues to lie about our elections?
Well, here's the thing with the 2020 election. There definitely, look, I'm going to say this. There was a bunch of questionable things that occurred that I think it warrants an investigation, right? I definitely think there's some irregularities there that are problematic, and I think we need to go back and look at it when it comes to 2020.
All 61 judges said that they were without merit, and nobody has come forward with real evidence. We know the Dinesh D'Souza 2,000 Mules was a joke and debunked. We look at like the My Pillow guy for answers on elections. You know that, Myron. Come on, man. You know that Joe Biden won a free and fair election. I know you're a smart guy. You know that Joe Biden won. Come on, man.
I think that there needs to definitely be an investigation just to make sure that we have,
but you have to have evidence for an investigation, don't you?
Well, here's the thing. I could pull up my tweet here if you want me to. I don't know how much time we have.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Myron. Go ahead.
Okay, because I did write something up here on this, actually. So let me try to find it. But
I guess while you're trying to find it, my point is very simple. There's no evidence of widespread voter fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election, regardless of when people say, well, there were some irregularities here and there. Nothing has been proved in a courtroom. They've had years to look into it. Nobody's been able to find anything. He won in 2016, a free and fair election. He won in 2024, a free and fair election. When he loses, it's rigged. When he wins, everything must have gone right. Myron, come on, man.
Again, like I said, I do think that there were definitely some irregularities in it where it would warrant an investigation.
Well, we were under a pandemic. We were under a global pandemic. Of course, things are going to be done a little bit differently. But does it not bother you that, Kamala Harris conceded, Hillary conceded, and Trump has yet to concede? Does that, because you talk about truth, you voted for Trump. Does that not bother you that he hasn't conceded?
I think we have a lot bigger fish to fry, which is why, like I said before, I think we have a lot of other problems that we need to handle first besides the election. I have my little list here if you want me to go through it, but right,
but none of that on your list has been proven in a courtroom. So my question to you is, it's okay to question an election. The president, as you would agree with me, I'm sure, has the right to question an election. But you don't have a right to just make claims that aren't true or have been unfounded in a court of law. He said the election was stolen. He said it was rigged. He said Joe Biden cheated. And January 6th doesn't happen if Donald Trump doesn't make those statements.
Again, we don't know. There's no telling what could have happened, right? But what
you think January 6th might have happened, and they would have been chanting "Hang Mike Pence," and they would have stormed the Capitol if Donald Trump had just conceded?
Well, again, like I said before, the American people, especially on the right, when they looked at all the evidence, like I said before, there was a lot of things, right, that went down with the last election or the 2020 election that had people like, what the hell, this is BS, and they felt like they had been robbed. So again, I think it warrants an investigation. I know you said that no court has said anything, but how is a court going to be able to make any real ruling if a proper investigation hasn't been conducted?
Because an investigation has to be conducted if there's actual sufficient evidence to do so. And to this point, our FBI, our CIA, and even Republican secretaries of state have all concluded that this was a free and fair election. You have to, just because the My Pillow guy says it, or Dinesh D'Souza says that, there were all these people that committed crimes, doesn't mean that crimes were committed. There has to be actual evidence to prove, and there's been no evidence of widespread voter fraud. And if somebody has that evidence, I'm glad to see it and talk with someone about it. But just because people make claims doesn't make it true. And the only point that I was trying, you talked about a threat to democracy. People died that day. People died the following day. 140 officers were injured. And this happened, and Donald Trump was sitting on his ass for 3.5 hours in the White House, wouldn't even put out a video. Isn't that dereliction of duty? I think that's an attack on the democracy.
I think January 6th, obviously, guys felt robbed, right? You got the mail-in ballot fraud, deceased voters, Dominion voting systems, voting counting observers, late-night ballot dumps, ballot harvesting, double voting, foreign interference, improper voter registration, manipulation by poll workers, geolocation data, surveillance footage, whistleblowers, vulnerabilities in election laws, suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop story, public and private partnership manipulation and censoring. All I'll say is this. It warrants some looking into. And I feel as though the American public felt that they were robbed. They were angry about it. and that's what ended up happening.
But it,
And
wa-
I,
but it was, but it, but
investigation.
it was looked into. You look at the ninjas and what happened in Arizona and the recounting of ballots there. They actually found more votes for Joe Biden. There have been plenty of instances where it has been looked into, and I would say Sidney Powell and all these people now that have flipped on Donald Trump and they admitted that the election was not stolen. Dinesh D'Souza's video,
I
go
think it
ahead.
needs to be conducted by, by individuals that actually really run investigations. I know you mentioned that the CIA and FBI. Well, we know that they were weaponized against the Trump administration, right? Or the Trump campaign. So I think it needs to be an objective and fair investigation. And again, like I said before, I think it absolutely warrants an investigation. That's kind of where it is. And I think anybody would be like, you know what, let's get to the bottom of this. Do I think it's something that we need to do now at this point? Probably not. I think we have better ideas with our tax dollars. But what I will say is that it's questionable. Yeah. And I do think it warrants it. Somebody to actually look at it that has the capability of conducting a real investigation that can make people come on subpoenas, et cetera, which is going to be what? A special agent 1811.